Hello everyone and welcome to our presentation. Emma, Anja and I will be presenting today with the aim to provide you with an assessment of a variety of integrated learning approaches. We'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today. We would also like to pay our respects to the elders, past, present and future. Our goal is to assist you, our colleagues, in obtaining a functional understanding and appreciation of integrated studies past and present that will hopefully provide you with the skills to use a variety of integration approaches within your classroom. Why integrate? Through the assessment and evaluation of within, between and beyond subject areas, we hope to provide the answer to this question. We will begin by evaluating the interdisciplinary or within subject areas curriculum integration. Integration can be defined as the actual method of incorporating or combining various elements into a whole. With this definition in mind, it is difficult to conceive how this can be achieved within one single subject area. However, integration applies to more than just curriculum content. It also applies to skills that students obtain, such as counting or reading. These skills are portable. They can and will ultimately be applied in other subject areas. The fragmented approach is a concentrated focus on the teaching and learning of concepts within one distinct learning area or discipline. Content taught is unique to that learning area and is viewed as separate to other learning areas. The fragmented approach is considered to be the traditional approach to teaching and learning. The content learned is not explicitly linked to learning within other subject areas, therefore learning can be disjointed. Alas, the term fragmented. Fogarty saw this approach towards integrated curriculum as a periscope with one view concentrated on a single subject area. The fragmented approach was the preferred method of curriculum delivery throughout the 19th and 20th century. It supported the needs of the industrial age and ensured that the compartmentalised industrial workforce could be maintained. It is a teacher-centred model of learning with scaffolded instruction provided to students to learn the subject-specific content. Explicit instruction is the main method of content delivery. This teacher-centred approach supports John Locke's theory of the child's mind as a blank slate or tabula rasa, that the more knowledgeable teacher deposits knowledge into the student's mind. This approach may be used because the teacher believes that the content, for example mathematics, should be taught in a linear way with particular skills and knowledge. Fogarty saw this approach towards integrated curriculum as a periscope with one view concentrated on a single subject area. The fragmented approach was the preferred method of curriculum delivery throughout the 19th and 20th century. It supported the needs of the industrial age and ensured that the compartmentalised industrial workforce could be maintained. It is a teacher-centred model of learning with scaffolded instruction provided to students to learn the subject-specific content. Explicit instruction is the main method of content delivery. This teacher-centred approach supports John Locke's theory of the child's mind as a blank slate or tabula rasa, that the more knowledgeable teacher deposits knowledge into the student's mind. This approach may be used because the teacher believes that the content, for example mathematics, should be taught in a linear way with particular skills and knowledge. Although the roots of this approach appear to be outdated, it is still useful and relevant within the contemporary classroom. Explicit instruction remains an effective teaching strategy, especially when establishing initial student understandings and evaluating students' misconceptions. Through explicit instruction, teachers show students how and what to do. The fragmented approach can be observed frequently in primary education when learning skills within specific learning areas. These skills are foundation skills or understandings that future learning builds upon. Examples of this include counting within mathematics, development of one-to-one correspondence from foundation through to year 2. This is relevant for both mathematics and English. Handwriting is another example that is explicitly taught throughout the junior primary years. And inference is an English skill that is explicitly taught to year 2 students. We look to secondary education for our final example. Although attempts have been made to revolutionise and integrate secondary education, the curriculum within the years 7 to 12 consistently remains subject specific. When we consider this integrated curriculum approach in relation to the theme of designing a new school playground, skills developed through explicit instruction of specific subject concepts will provide students with the ability to undertake further investigations and learning in a variety of subject areas that will ultimately support this project. There are distinct benefits to incorporating the fragmented integration approach into contemporary education. The explicit instruction allows students to gain the foundational subject-specific skills to build their learning upon. Careful planning is needed, however, using this approach, and clear learning intentions need to be shared with students to support student engagement and provide clear reasoning for the purpose of the learning. Essential skills developed via explicit instruction such as counting, reading and writing are naturally used in other learning areas and are lifelong essential skills. Students will utilise these skills throughout all facets of their life. If this approach is overused, it can compromise students developing essential 21st century skills such as creativity, problem solving and collaboration. The curriculum is congested, and consistently adopting a fragmented integration approach would be time consuming and compromise teachers' abilities to cover all curriculum requirements. Content taught using this approach is not always easily placed within real-world contexts and therefore can be difficult for students to make relevant connections with their learning.
Hi, my name is Emma and I wanted to ask staff some questions. Why integrate? What strategies are you currently using in your classrooms? Have these been effective? Now, I will expand on these questions by discussing how the use of multiple intelligences supports an integrated approach. As we all know, there's a lot of curriculum content that needs to be covered in the year. Therefore, this presentation aims to address some concerns and provide solutions on how to manage the curriculum more effectively. In this presentation, I will be evaluating and analysing a model of integration between subject areas. This will be analysed via the theme of designing a playground for the school grounds. I will aim to expand on these questions I've asked earlier by discussing some of the benefits and limitations and provide examples on how to integrate curriculum with different models. Firstly, according to Gilbert, multidisciplinary approaches focus mainly on teachers organising their lessons based on standards of a discipline or subject. This can vary in the intensity of integration. McLaughlin states that this approach is also known as scholar academic ideology. Our culture has accrued knowledge over the centuries, which has now been segregated into academic disciplines. Some examples will now be discussed. According to Fogarty, a sequence model of integration involves teaching subjects in a logical order concurrently. This enables academics, skills, and dispositions to be taught simultaneously, whilst isolating subject content. This can benefit students by explicitly teaching specific content that is isolated to certain subjects. This leads to a deeper understanding, thus making assessments easier for students to comprehend. Then, learning can be enhanced by making links between different subject areas. In contrast, there are limitations in using this model. It does make it difficult to negotiate content with students, as specific content needs to be taught that may not be personalised and support the individual's needs. However, an example of how this can be implemented in the classroom is by the generalist teacher teaching students about design and technology principles. As per the Australian curriculum, select and use materials, components, tools, equipment and techniques, and use safe work practices to make design solutions. Then, the arts teacher gets the students to either draw or create an architectural model. When a teacher prepares lessons that are scaffolded in sequential order and purposely links content, they provide students with the opportunity to recall and practice what they already know. Brain theory tells us that when students are reviewing prior learning, students are more likely to remember what was taught. Thus, each time, content is reinforced as the connections in the brain become stronger. Next is the interdisciplinary approach. This utilises the method of threaded. According to Fogarty, Interdisciplinary planning is focused on student skills or dispositions. Then the skills or dispositions within the lesson are used to make links to other subject areas. An example of this is when designing a playground, students are required to use language to effectively communicate to their peers and teacher, thus benefiting students as they improve their social skills by working in groups to collaborate on their designs. Also, problem-solving skills to overcome construction challenges by using prior knowledge. Furthermore, creativity is required for students to express their ideas. As mentioned, many of these skills are linked to many areas within the curriculum. There's the arts, mathematics, personal and social capability, technologies, critical and creative thinking, and English. Additionally, there are some limitations to this method. Time constraints are already an issue for teachers, and conflicting timetables can make it hard for all teachers to collaborate regularly. Also, some students may not enjoy learning this way because of poor confidence in speaking in front of their peers and may be hesitant to engage. Sociocultural theory tells us that interactions between students are essential in child development as children learn through others' perspectives. McLaughlin states that this approach of learner-centered ideology dates back to as early as 1746 by Johann Heinrich Pestalozzi, who argued that children should be free to pursue their own interest and advocated for the freedoms of the whole child. This holistic view emphasizes the importance of interdisciplinary methods. Another approach to this interdisciplinary lesson is via an integrated model, which combines subject based on similar topics and concepts. As mentioned earlier, there are many similar concepts that will be taught when the children design a playground. This approach is also embedded in the principles of constructivism, sociocultural, and brain theories. This can be integrated as a whole school approach via student meetings and presentations to gain votes on a unified design, which creates authentic learning, as the designs will be used in the playground that get built at the school.
Finally, we have the beyond subject areas, the transdisciplinary approach. The transdisciplinary approach to curriculum integration starts with issues, problems, or concerns rather than curriculum documents, typically initiated by students. Examples include project-based or community-focused activities. This approach is open-ended and tackles real-world problems whilst maintaining the integrity of each individual learning area. Within the transdisciplinary approach is the networked model and immerse model. For the purposes of this presentation, we will be focusing on the immerse model of integration. The immerse model of integration views the curriculum through a microscope. It filters all content through the lens of interest and expertise, and can be seen to channel personal interests to fuel learning and engagement in students. The immerse model allows students to make connections to various subject areas while working on a project or activity. This type of integrated learning is seen as holistic and places the student in control of their learning. They are in control of the knowledge learned, strategies used, and the sharing of that knowledge with their peers, school community, and wider community. This form of integrated learning is also seen to support Carol Dweck's growth mindset theory, as students are taught that there is no right way of doing something. Channeling interest and using this to develop and learn can lead to higher achievement and effort. In a classroom, this might look like a project-based activity where students are invited to design a new playground for the school. Students are invited to pursue the design process as they feel necessary. Most or all of the class activities will be focused on the playground. For example, numeracy would be building measurements and angles. Literacy could be advertising and explaining the design processes through various means of communication. And science through understanding soil and weather-suitable materials. Students are encouraged to take into consideration a range of potential hazards, accessibility, and various other factors that should be considered for a school playground. Students are also engaging in critical and creative thinking and personal and social capabilities as part of the general capabilities in the Australian curriculum. Students could use various props and tools to show their designs, such as paper and pen, wooden building blocks, Lego, and recycled materials, such as old toilet paper rolls, tissue boxes, soft drink bottles. This type of integrated learning is widely used in postgraduate studies. Students from Foundation to Year 6 can most definitely engage in an immersed model of integration. However, the strategies used to implement this type of learning would differ for the younger year levels. A school day timetable might look a bit different with an immersed model, as students move from activity to activity or project to project rather than subject to subject during the school day. The immersed model encourages every student to engage in their learning by improving their ability to think. The Australian curriculum's general capabilities highlights the importance of students confidently, effectively, and appropriately applying their knowledge and skills in changing circumstances at school and their lives out of school. The transdisciplinary approach is used as a creative solution to many community and world issues today. As gender explores, creativity occupies, or should occupy, a central role in education and training. The transdisciplinary approaches call into the benefits of thinking's creativity and flexibility. The history, however, of the transdisciplinary approach to integration began to be spoken of in the 1970s. As explored in Bernstein's article on the transdisciplinarity, a review of its origins, development, and current issues, critiques began on the configuration of knowledge in disciplines in the curriculum. The first focus was primarily on epistemology and future educational programs. This approach was not taken well at first. However, in its re-emergence in the 1990s, it was seen as a solution of new, highly complex global concerns. How might this impact your teaching? Well, there are some limitations, which include when implementing the immersed model of integration, there is seen to be less of an emphasis on subject areas, where knowledge and skills are seen as interconnected and interdependent. This could potentially impact on a teacher's ability to ensure all necessary curriculum content has been taught. However, this approach to learning allows students to go at their own pace, supporting Piaget's theory of cognitive development, where, as explored in Leffer's article in Educational Psychology, his theory assumes that all children go through the same sequence of development, but do so at different rates. The immersed model highlights this as students are encouraged to be autonomous learners who are given the opportunity to pursue projects and activities how they see fit. It allows learners to explore a variety of experiences and encourage new understandings through a focus on a particular topic or issue. We hope this presentation has helped you gain greater practical understanding and appreciation of integrated studies, with some new approaches to potentially use in your classrooms. Thank you and happy integrating!